3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. As always, I am one-third of your host and crew, Wes Tolleson. I am joined by my co-hosts, Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder in College Station and Stillwater, respectively. And guys, I'm just going to get straight into it. Wasn't a great week for us last week. I mean, I'm looking at these pick records. I went 10-6. Ryan and Walker went 8-8. I did do 2 games better than both of you, but collectively, those are not the standards we hold ourselves to. Those picks weren't great. So, Walker, I'll start with you. Why would you say, and I think there's a specific reason, why these picks weren't as they normally are up to par?
I'm wearing my hoodie. It's sad boy hours. Was listening to my some just very sad music this weekend, to get over all the losses I have. And I'm just still not over it, man. It hurts me deeply. But yeah, I mean, it was just not my best week, man. And we have to keep moving, we keep pushing, and I just did not read the board right. Sometimes you just don't read it right. Your glasses are on wrong, maybe that's the reason. I don't even wear glasses, but I don't know, man. I just didn't read the board right this week. I didn't have faith in some schools, and some schools just did not perform as well as we expected them to before the season. And we'll get into all the upsets this week. But yeah, it's sad boy hours right now with the pick record.
Absolutely. Ryan, you have anything to add to, the state of our pick record in private school football after week 1?
Yeah, honestly, that's not me. Yeah, y'all know me. I'm the pick record champ. Hold on one second. I got something.
I was about to say, I think Ryan's got some memorabilia to show off, commemorating the first ever Texas Private School Podcast pick record champion.
So I'd like
Look
to
at
bring this to y'all's attention. This would be, if y'all can read it. I don't know if y'all can read it. Oh my God, my glare. There you go. If you can read it.
Est vanitas.
Yeah. So Wes would refuse to tell us what that means. Would you like to tell us what that means now?
It's an old Latin affirmation. I don't think it needs any more explaining than that.
Okay.
All right. He's just trying to be secretive about it. But, I will say, whoever gets this next year, I hope to keep it in this very room, but, it might make its way down to College Station. I hope not, but we'll see. I'm going to keep it on my desk now for the rest of the episode.
It's definitely going to me. It's definitely
I hope you're enjoying your time with it, because you will be parting with it with it soon, and it's not going to be in Walker's realm of College Station. It'll be in mine.
Oh, all right.
But
okay.
That's all the time we'll spend on pick records. I love to have the last word there. We'll now transition into our players of the week, and we had 2 fantastic stat lines that were honestly surrounded by a ton of crazy stats in week 1. We were both talking about this before we started the episode. I mean, there were so many good stat lines, and it was so hard to choose from, but ultimately we whittled it down to 2. So the Texas Private School Podcast Offensive Player of the Week for week 1 is junior quarterback Dante Lewis from Houston St. Thomas. Dante went 24 for 36 for 400 yards passing. He threw 6 touchdowns, and he had 80 yards rushing. I was there on hand to cover this game and to watch Dante. We've all been very high on him since me and Walker saw him excel in 7-on-7. So I went into this game knowing that Dante was a special player. I was very excited to watch him compete, and boy, did he compete. I mean, 400 yards through the air, 6 touchdowns, and absolutely leading St. Thomas's offensive attack was nothing short of amazing. Walker, what are your thoughts on Dante Lewis winning our Offensive Player of the Week?
I remember I called you after the game, and I was just like, all right, how do you play? And you were, hey, I mean, Dante Lewis did Dante Lewis things, and he just shined and just, did what he had to do. And I mean, that's what you kind of expect from this guy. This performance is, amazing and one of the best of the week for sure. But, you kind of have that standard at St. Thomas of amazing offense, just high powered, throw the ball, a lot of yards. And he, you had Jake Wright last year, you had, Maddox Kopp, and he just fills that void perfectly. And he continues the success of St. Thomas quarterbacks really well. So, congrats to him on a great week and a great win opening the season against St. John's.
No, he was absolutely fantastic. Ryan, your thoughts on Dante Lewis and our offensive player of the week?
Yeah, man. It stuck out to me immediately. I mean, you see 500 all-purpose yards, and you're thinking to yourself, "What in the world happened on that Friday night?" So, Dante, incredible performance, my man. And against a powerful SBC team like Houston St. John's too. I mean, it wasn't against nobody. It wasn't against a random team. This was a Houston St. John's team, a team that's going to make a contention for the SBC this year. So let it be known, Dante Lewis is going to show out 2024. Let's see how this junior quarterback does the rest of the season.
Without a doubt, that'll be very intriguing to follow as the year goes on. But congratulations to Dante Lewis for winning our Offensive Player of the Week. Now, looking at the Texas Private School Podcast Defensive Player of the Week, this has to go to senior DB Daniel Demery. Ole Miss commit Daniel Demery. Demery had 7 tackles, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a pass breakup. And it was the timing that most of these stats came from, which really separates him from the pack. Demery was essentially the closer in Parish's game versus Aledo. He had a pass breakup to seal the game. He had an interception that basically put the nail in the coffin. I mean, the kid is fantastic. We've been raving on him forever, and he made an impact on the biggest stage by helping Parish basically take down Titletown. So, Walker, I mean, we didn't even have much debate over who had to win Defensive Player of the Year. We knew it had to be Demery. So how can you speak to his performance this past week and how it contributed to Parish's win over Aledo?
Yeah, I mean, I was at my game I had to work at on Friday, and right when that ended, I had a 6 o'clock kickoff. So I, raced to a Sonic, got something to eat, and turned on the Aledo Parish game. And I got to watch the last of the third and all the fourth. And I just, I don't think that anyone scored in that fourth quarter. I could be wrong, but the fact that an offense like Aledo, right? If they might have one break and that's ball game, but that defense led by Daniel Demery held strong, and we'll get more to it when we recap the game, but you could just tell like he was ready for it. And I talk about it all the time with other friends and stuff. The guys who can just, when the lights turn on and they're at their best, is the guys you always want on the field. And that is a guy like Daniel Demery. When the lights turn on, it's go time. You got to be on your best. That's what he did. And the interception in the fourth quarter, I believe, to stop one of the drives of Aledo, to give them one less shot of trying to tie it up. And then, of course, I believe on that drive, they set up the field goal, I believe, to make it 24-17. That was the final score, right?
Right.
So I think that was the field goal drive. I don't know on the top of my head, but I believe that is. And then very last drive, Aledo was driving. I believe they're on like their 30 or on the Parish 30, 4th down. You got to make a play, and Daniel Demery comes up with it. I mean, that's what you want in your captain. That's what you want in your leader. That's what you want in your Power 5 defensive back. And he brought it all to the table, and you can't ask more of the guy.
Absolutely. He is a natural born leader and just a fantastic athlete on top of that. Ryan, your thoughts on Daniel Demery winning our Texas Private School Podcast Defensive Player of the Week?
Yeah, I mean, Walker said it best. I mean, if you haven't heard of Daniel Demery yet, you're living on the wrong side of the rock, or however that phrase works. I don't know. I don't know. If
under it's when
yeah,
you open
yeah, something like that. Wes is good at those random phrases. I'm just gonna stick to the whatever.
Rock.
This is what we get, by the way, guys, of recording at 11:50 on a Tuesday. This is what we get. But I agree with you. I agree with you.
That was only so hilarious to me because it's almost midnight. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Anyways, I was gonna keep it short and sweet anyways, but I'll keep it shorter and sweeter. Daniel Demery, great game. If you didn't know, we'll talk about it a little more later with the Parish Aledo game. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy that came up in the clutch. So Daniel Demery, y'all.
Absolutely. So congratulations again to Daniel Demery for winning the Texas Private School Podcast Defensive Player of the Week. Oh, really quickly before we get out of this, Ryan, there was a guy from your alma mater, Tres Harris, that had a pretty cool story and had a great stat line coming back from a pretty severe injury that no one thought that he could come back from. Can you explain a little bit what happened there?
Yeah, a crazy thing happened last season. He's Trace Harris is the name, by the way. Trace Harris, Lacey Christian Academy, if you didn't know, my alma mater. You know, Trace has had lots of stuff that happened throughout his high school career, but this was the crazy thing last year. He got banged up in a game. I'm gonna get the exact game real quick for y'all. So he was having a great game. Trace was having what in the article says the game of his life against Tyler Grace. Funny enough, Wes's alma mater. But yeah, in only the 5th game of the season, he ran for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game. And then he got pulled down with a defender on top of his head, slammed into the turf, and with the crown of his helmet hitting first, nothing to Grace's fall. And so basically, from what I even heard from my brother who went to the school at the time, it was a scary, scary injury. My brother was at the game, and this was something that like he got sent to the emergency room that night. And yeah, if you read the article on Dallas Morning News, it's by Greg Riddle, one of the like best what's called article writers.
Greg is great, man. He's a really good writer.
Amazing. So you have to read this article for yourself. But basically, Trace, heck of a comeback. I know Trotter, when he told Trotter that he was coming back, Trotter was like, all right, let's go. Like, well, let's get ready to go. Let's get the season going. So, and he had a great night last night too. I mean, he went back and basically, 11 tackles, 5 for a loss, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Trace literally showed that he wants to play his senior year out. So, from when I knew him in middle school, when I was announcing middle school football games, and I was announcing his name in middle school football games, like he was that good in middle school. I may have called him Trez back in middle school because I didn't know how to say his name. Shout out to his mom for correcting me for that. But Trace Harris, man, I've known you since middle school, and you've been a stud forever. It's so great that you're getting to play your senior season. What a heck of a comeback, and an awesome article written by Greg Riddell.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a crazy story, something you don't see very often, and just couldn't be happier for Trace Harris. Did I get that right, Trace?
Trace, not Trez.
Perfect. Trace, not Trez. All right. So congratulations to Trace Harris for that immaculate comeback. And hopefully he has a fantastic season moving forward. But now we are going to actually really quickly before that, we're going to talk about just some of the craziness that happened last week in terms of just raw upsets. If I can pull up in front of me.
Do you want me to pull it up or you want
no,
me to say
I've got it in front of me. Cool. So we got Liberty Christian beats Plano Prestonwood 28-7.
Wow.
We have Nolan Catholic upsets with All Saints. We have, feel free to jump in if any. Oh yeah, Geneva Burney beats St. Michael's. Coram Deo beats Covenant Crit. That's actually what I expected.
I would say TWCA over John Cooper.
That was a big one too.
Oak
Ridge over Grace Prep was gigantic as well. I don't think
Yeah.
any of us would have expected that. But yeah, I mean, essentially, that's kind of what we were alluding to in our pick records, that a lot of people, and if you look at pick records from around the state, or at least like guys like us, LSCSN that do private school picks, I'm sure Texas Private School Football Guy, I don't think anyone really had a great pick record aside from Brandon Brunson, who's a baseball guy and somehow outpicked all of us.
Shout out to our guy Brandon, man.
Dude, he's the GOAT, man.
Shout out to private school baseball, yeah.
Yeah, he's the GOAT. But yeah, so it was just absolute craziness. I mean, just kind of to lay the groundwork for the games we're about to get into. But moving into those games, the first one is Houston St. John's versus Houston St. Thomas, the game I was there to cover. And initially, ironically as it sounds, the game was a defensive battle. It was 7-7 after the first quarter, 14-7 St. Thomas at the half. The St. John's secondary initially did a solid job of keeping the Eagles' offense in check, although Lewis was starting to find junior Luke Edgecombe and senior Schaefer Henderson through the air. However, the scoring opened up in a big way in the second half. Long story short, Lewis finished with 400 all-purpose yards, 391 passing, with 6 touchdowns through the air. That number is actually wrong. It's closer to 500 all-purpose yards. 3 of those touchdowns went to Schaefer Henderson, and a couple more were brought in by Edgecombe. But the game ended up being a 43-28 victory in favor of St. Thomas, and the Eagles start the season off on the right foot. However, I can't talk about this game while ignoring sophomore athlete Cole Allen for St. John's. That kid is a freak, man. I know we talked about it all last year. We didn't get a chance to go down and watch St. John's, so we just went off his stats and his film. The kid is the real deal. He had one of the better catches I've ever seen live in a football game that I have linked on our Twitter. It's just the absolute definition of mausing someone. But at the end of the day, the contest is about what I expected from both squads, and each have great potential moving forward. Walker, your thoughts on St. Thomas beating St. John's?
I think that last sentence of like is what you expected out of both squads, but it's not like it's a negative for St. John's losing this game. I think it shows that like their defense is ready to go for the rest of the season in SPC. Cole Allen will be the guy. Stephen Gill, I remember you telling me that he really played really good. I think they have the right tools in place for St. John's, to win the SPC, to win in the SPC. And see if they can compete with the Kincaids and the ESCs that they really weren't able to last year, and also the Episcopal this year. But I think it's a successful game for them, even when not in the outcome, if that makes sense. For Houston St. Thomas, it gets a lot of guys who you really didn't see last year ready to play and used to playing high school football and playing them together. Dante Lewis, Schaefer Henderson, like you said, Luke Edgecombe, getting those kinks out of, only having 14-14 at the half and then getting ready to play, finding out their rhythms and all of that, and then dominating the second half. So it was just a very impressive performance by St. Thomas, and you kind of expected that to finally, when it clicks, to go to work, and that's what they pretty much did this game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. Moving to the wrong side of the rock, Ryan Schroeder, what did you think about St. Thomas versus St. John's?
No. I'm not being known as that guy. Not being known as that guy. There's one mistake. All right. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll bring it up.
No, you're good. I can take it. 43-27, literally, in all reality, this game was, it was literally only 21 points scored in the first half, like not a lot of scoring going on first half. And then the man happened. Then Mr. went off for 600 yards, so in all reality, this game has, like we say, it's non-district, it's non-district. St. Thomas, it's a TAPS versus SPC battle. And it really just showed that, that guys came out, guys show what they're going to be for the rest of the year. I know basically we now have our eyes on Mr. Dante Lewis for the rest of the season. So that's something that if we weren't looking at him, we're looking at him now. But I think with this entire game, like y'all said, it had no effect on the rest of the season. Like, this is just a get your feet wet. Like, let's see how the guys play for the first time. And that's basically all these games, get your feet wet, see how you're going to play this year. And it has no general, like, it doesn't steer you either way, having one loss in your record in non-district. But yeah, I'm just saying right now, great overall game between these two teams. Honestly, probably about the score I would have predicted myself. But yeah, no, Dante Lewis, man, I'm sorry, I got to keep bringing this up. I don't think we saw anything like that last year with 500 all-purpose yards, 6 touchdowns. He is essentially part of the reason why why Houston St. Thomas won. So that's all I gotta say. That's my deep behind the rock analysis.
But sorry, that was good. But yeah, no, I don't want to gloss over this without mentioning again Schaefer Henderson and Luke Edgecombe. Both of those receivers were integral for what Lewis was trying to do and that whole St. Thomas offense. So just remember the names Schaefer Henderson and Luke Edgecombe moving forward. Both of them are fantastic athletes. But guys, we already talked about this game a good amount, so let's keep it brief. But Aledo versus Parish. Don't say I didn't warn you. Parish shocks Titletown with a 24-17 victory. Sophomore quarterback Sawyer Anderson goes 17 for 29, 216 yards and 3 touchdowns. Running back Cedric Mays has 145 all-purpose yards. However, like I mentioned, the MVP of this game was senior Ole Miss commit Daniel Demery, who had a forced fumble at the goal line that resulted in a touchback, returned 2 interceptions inside the Aledo 10-yard line, and registered the game-sealing pass breakup in the final 2 minutes. So Parish shocks Titletown Aledo 24-17. Walker, your thoughts?
I guess I was wrong. I'll admit that. People were chirping me.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Come on.
And I think it was like in my gut, I was like, Parish absolutely has a shot in this. They could definitely win this, and I could have went that way, but I think my like being from Fort Worth, Southwest Fort Worth, being friends with Aledo, that like side of me just pulled me in too much of like, it's Aledo. How can they lose? And I mean, Parish did it. I mean, Parish was the better team. Their defense was ready to go, held a good offense, Aledo offense to 17 points. It's impressive. But what's interesting is like, I think Aledo for the first time in a while has a lot of questions that need to be answered. You know, this might not be the first year that they might have to have a little bit of a rebuilding year. And I was reading the tweet from one of my guys that I know, and he said, from hearing what I've heard from the people at the Aledo Parish game, if this is the Aledo we can expect, Denton Ryan is definitely not their biggest concern. And that was a big thing going up to D1, or they 5A D1, or they can be able to handle it. And Parish showed them they got a lot to fix if they even want a chance at 5A D1. That side of it done. Parish now, I mean, hats off to the guys. Sawyer Anderson plays in probably one of the biggest games he's ever played, and 17 of 29, 60% completion, 216, 3 touchdowns. The 3 picks is an issue, and he'll work on that, and that's not the problem. But I like the heart in this kid. I like Cedric Mays being able to rush the ball. Just very, very impressed about this Parish team. And I mean, like, I think like Foster said last week, right? So many teams in private school always were really good and always wanted to have the shot of like, oh yeah, let's play a big dog and see if we can do it. And Aledo finally got that opportunity and they succeeded. And I just want to say hats off to them for doing that. It's so impressive that with all the noise, with all the hype coming about, oh, they can't do that, including me, they don't care and they just go to work and they win. And that's very, very impressive.
High five, Ryan.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go.
Ryan, your quick thoughts on Aledo Parish.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. Sawyer had a good game. But in all reality, Cedric Mays, just showing that he's going to make an impact this year as well. Combined with his rushing yards of 100, he also had receiving yards of about 50 as well. Caught 5 passes, caught a touchdown pass. I mean, Cedric Mays is going to work as that, running back / wide receiver combo. It's exciting to see the dump off that, Sawyer can get to Cedric Mays and seeing what Cedric Mays is going to be able to do, with 18 carries a game, which he had in this game. I'm excited to see what this offense does. And the defense just, we know the defense. Trey Williams, what's called Parker Meese, Daniel Demery. We know all these guys at this point. So it's in all reality, this team, in my opinion, I guess me and Wes kind of saw it. It's like this Parish team is something special. So I didn't want to go against the private school culture. Like, we're a private school podcast. So I did have that kind of on my shoulders a little bit too. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I know Aledo's pass. I know the wing culture there and stuff like that. And Walker's 100% right. If we're talking Aledo, the question marks are there this year. So I still think this is a really impressive win, though. Do not discount this win. This Parish win. Are we talking about? This is the question. This is the questions being answered about whether Parish could move to what's it called, to UIL. Like this is the we talked about this game being the one that would be like, hey, this is the Titletown team. This is a big game on the schedule. Parish did it, y'all. Parish did it. What more do y'all want? Come on. I don't know.
For our sake, I really hope they don't, just because I like covering them playing all the private schools. But between just us three, and I don't think there's anyone else listening, they absolutely could do it. They could absolutely do it.
I think it's also not only just like, hey, can they go to UIL like a Jesuit? I think it's also, the best of the best compete with the best of the best? And, we always call back to, like, I always talk about that St. Pius team that beat College Station by a lot. And then College Station that year went and beat Aledo in the state championship. And those are the levels of private school teams. And it's going to be interesting if, all right, this might not be the best 5A D1 team in Aledo, probably at Ryan or Dengai, or no, not whatever. There's some other 5A D1 teams that are going to be good other than Aledo, but showing that they can beat the bigger teams in 5A is impressive. And it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can hang with a Parish this season in private school ranks. And if they can, how do those, then you can match up like, okay, if a Bel-Air hangs within 15 of Parish, how can they do against other 5A schools? You know, that type of thing.
Right. Right. This is going to be the main thing I say with this. If you don't think Novikov is gonna schedule these games every year, you're lying to yourself. Novikov is gonna schedule these games every year. He's gonna schedule it with how many non-district games he gets. He's gonna put the big names on the schedule every single year until they're proven to be that team that can contend in UIL. And I know that Novikov is 100% that way, and he will 100% do that. He wants to show everyone that, you know what, we're gonna win state every year in TAPS, but the 4 or 5 games this year that, you know, we're not playing in TAPS and we get to play the non-district schedule, I'll play every single team. I'll play state champions. I'll play the Aledo title towns of whatever. And he's only going to play harder teams year after year.
Yep. No, absolutely. He will. And it will be very, very intriguing to see what Parish does moving forward with this just gauntlet of a schedule. But yeah, now we will move on into the next game we're going to recap. That is ESD versus TCA. And this ended 58-43 in favor of ESD, who I remember saying would win this game because of returning their entire offense. And, you know, they put up 60 points. So I think that's probably a pretty good correlation there. Patrick Burke went 13 of 27, 271 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, also rushed for 124 yards, leading the Eagles and had 3 more touchdowns there, so 7 to his name for this game. Running back Andrew Carey rushed for 83 yards and a touchdown. Looking at receiving, Garrison Elliott went for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns, where Jordan Hutchinson also pulled in 2 TDs. TCA quarterback Aiden Mills also threw for a couple hundred yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 to Takashi Shaw and 2 to Chance Snyder. So this was an absolute barn burner, guys. I mean, 58-43 is a lot of points, especially for week 1 of the season when offenses are normally rusty. But I mean, I expected ESC to pull this one out. Did both of you side with ESD?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah, I did.
I actually went TCA.
Well, so Walker, I'll start with you first then. I mean, explain or just what do you think about this outcome and just the showing on both sides?
I mean, I think your first point of like how returning their entire offense really, really helped ESD in this. Patrick Burke went off and having 7 touchdowns in 1 week is kind of impressive and probably one of the first, probably leads the state of Texas in touchdowns with 7 on the first day. I mean, I'd probably have to assume so, but just very, very impressive on the night. It shows still that TCA is in the right direction, and you know, scoring 43 on ESD is no slouch. So they still have a shot to do really good this year. But it just shows how good ESD looks this year.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be in a very good position moving forward. Ryan, your thoughts on ESD TCA?
Yeah, I picked ESD, and I made some comments about TCA last week that, you know, I don't know if I hold fully true. So, you know, in all reality, Aiden Mills played a great game, 4 touchdowns and 205 yards is nothing to, you know, like be upset about at all. Like that's a great game. You know, both your main receivers, Chance Snyder and Takashi Shaw, both had 2 touchdowns themselves. Takashi had, you know, 100 yards on him himself. Like, in all reality, you know, TCA performed well. So I with ESD, I don't even have to talk about ESD. Patrick Burke did amazing, and then the rest of that team, it was just insane. I mean, with Elliott and Hutchinson both have 2 touchdowns, like that's crazy. However, I want to talk about TCA because we already talked about ESD. I want to see how TCA plays his next game against Fourth All Saints. I know we're going to cover it, but what I want to say is just like the whole thing I've been saying is like I want to see how TCA plays again, you know, in this system of D1 again. And so with an All Saints matchup of a team that we were really high on and stuff like that, I really want to see how they play this Friday. I think it's important, and I think this game will mean a lot more than maybe some people are looking into. I mean, people see 2 0-1 teams on the slate, and they have no idea what they're looking for because TCA and All Saints is going to be a great game this week, and I'm excited to see if TCA can turn it around.
Yeah, I think that's going to be because it's 2 very talented teams with kind of uncertain futures. All Saints a lot more than TCA right now, but yeah, it's an incredible point bringing that up. That's something we have to follow closely. But transitioning into the next game, we have Austin Regents versus Central Catholic, where I mean, we just got this one flat wrong. I mean, we got called Clown Town on Instagram, which honestly made me laugh really hard driving home from Houston. I kind of want to get a little picture frame and put Clown Town like right there whenever we record. I think that would be utterly hilarious. But shout out, I forget the Regents kid that sent that to me. I think
someone's gonna send you a banner. Someone's gonna send you a banner or something like that. It's gonna say Clown Town, and then people are gonna come over to your house and be like, "Who's Clown Town?" And you're gonna be like, "Nope, that's me. I'm Clown Town." I'm Clown Town because kids from Austin told me that I'm Clown Town.
I mean, if you send me literally anything that won't get us age restricted, I'll put it on that wall behind me. I mean, I swear I will. I mean, that's probably a bad idea.
No, that's a bad suggestion.
That's the rule. That's the rule. If it doesn't get us age restricted, it goes on the wall.
I like that idea. I'm like it.
Saying.
Oh my gosh! Do not. Oh no, that's
we'll see.
Bad. People are gonna send you memes of yourself. That's
that would be awesome. All right, moving into the actual game. Freshman quarterback Quinn Murphy led the Knights to a 35-20 victory over the Buttons. The freshman threw for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns in his high school debut. Senior Jackson Smith had an 89-yard receiving touchdown or 89-yard touchdown and 2 goal line stands. Ended up giving Regents the edge here. So, I mean, I remember saying I thought that Central was going to have the advantage because I didn't know how Regents was going to, game plan for Braden Flowers on both sides of the ball. But I mean, I guess that just it wasn't a huge factor here. I mean, Quinn Murphy is someone that we haven't talked about a whole lot leading up to this. I don't know if we were 100% sure. Or at least I wasn't of Regents quarterback situation going into the season, but Quinn Murphy has made very well sure that we know who he is now. So Walker, your thoughts on the freshman quarterback Quinn Murphy and Regents just dominating here week 1?
Yeah, I mean, when we watched them in 7-on-7, they were rotating a couple quarterbacks, Wes. So we were like, it might be him, but we don't know for sure, and all that jazz. And yeah, we know who Quinn Murphy is now, and there's no doubt about that. Having 330 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first game ever on varsity football and even high school football is undoubtedly impressive. And I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't know what they put in the water down there in Austin Regents to make quarterbacks just really good there, but it's very, very impressive. But who also really stood out to me was, of course, the Colorado State commit, Whitfield Powell. I watched his tape from this last game, and he just made it a nightmare for Ryan Perez to do basically anything. Probably a couple sacks, tackle for losses. I felt bad for Ryan Perez, man. I mean, he had to deal with him all night. And yeah, I mean, that defense is loaded. Him, Wilburn, a lot of other dudes, Verdict. I mean, I guess we just didn't give him enough credit. Wes, Ryan, I mean, I guess we need to always remember Austin Regents is Austin Regents, and they went undefeated a year ago and only 2 years ago and only lost 1 game a year ago. I mean, that's just who they are,
I think we also take for granted that Regents, I mean, might have won state for 3 different years if Trinity Christian wouldn't have existed, and I think that would have changed the outlook on their program. Now you could argue that DC would have come out of the North, but basically I think Regents gets discounted a little bit in the last few years just because of the Cedar Hill mania that swept through TAPS for 3 years. But also I'm going to find an excuse to complain about that any chance I get. So I might just be bringing that up for no reason. But Ryan, as for this past game, Regents versus Central, 35-20 for Regents, your thoughts on the outcome?
Yeah, honestly, I had it wrong as well. If it wasn't glaringly obvious by my pick. But I did hedge my bet a little bit. I said that, I was the one that had faith in Regents last year, which means nothing. It's a whole new year. But I did want to say that I really do think this Regents team is successful. They've been successful. They literally breed success down there. So I wanted to be known that I should have had the good idea that Regents was going to come out strong once again. But Central Catholic, I'm just gonna like I said, I want to highlight some of these guys because Ryan Perez. A good day coming out. Ryan Perez, 269. Obviously, he went to work at quarterback, but 138 yards and 2 touchdowns out of John Vina. I wanted to learn more about this kid, man. The Central Catholic running back this year looks like is going to be running back number 1. So we talk about Braden Flowers all the time, but let's get some let's get some shot on John Vina every now and then, or how do you ever say it? Vina. Two touchdowns and 138 yards, man. A 73 yard is your longest. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm excited to see what he can do. 19 carries looks like the lead rusher for them.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, okay.
Was that? Sorry, it's really late.
Yes.
I can't read social
Ryan.
cues anymore. But
Wes,
yeah,
that means yes, he is done. It is time to move.
sorry.
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
feel like
did
I
that.
feel like for me, I think I just need to say end every single time I'm done, and then that what lets Wes know. My social cues.
We need to treat this like radio comms where you just say over every time.
Yeah, every
so you're
time.
Like, so
Every
the
time.
correct terminology would be yes, over. And then,
Okay.
then my bird brain would know, okay, now it's time for me to start talking again. You would think after 45 episodes, I'd be, pretty seamless at picking up transitions and segueing us. I'm not a smart person. Anyways, going back to, I actually just saw that Quinn Murphy tagged us in the post of them beating Central Catholic. So I just like that. Shout out Quinn Murphy. Shout out Austin Regents. Shout out to us.
This is TXPS after dark. And
This is awful.
like
Every-
Pac-12 after dark. This is TXPS after dark.
I'm just gonna completely take this off the rails. But I remember last year, whenever we recorded one episode like this, Walker, it's the one I recorded on that couch back there. I don't remember what I said, but I remember my mom texted me after that episode came out, and she was like, "If you ever do anything like that again, I'm not watching another one of these episodes." So hopefully this doesn't turn into that. I think I'm composing myself a little better, but we can't record past midnight anymore.
This is so funny.
Okay.
Is so funny.
So we're gonna speed run the rest of these reviews, get into the previews and move along. So next review, Houston Second Baptist versus St. Pius. This one's pretty easy because there's no stats in there anywhere, but we do know that they held Houston Second Baptist beat St. Pius 35-7. Second Baptist hasn't entered any stats, but we do know they held St. Pius under 240 yards of total offense. They have Turner Murdoch. They're now at quarterback. You have to assume he accounted for a lot of the 35 points. I mean, Walker, Second Baptist basically just drums St. Pius here in the opening game. You picked St. Pius, did I'm actually not saying that to troll you. You picked them, didn't you?
I mean, I did. Yes, I did do that.
Okay, well, I'm going to make you answer for that now here.
I guess might have been a mistake. Looking back at it now, yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. 35-7. I mean, it was a donkey stopping, maybe, as they say these days. Just a very, very underwhelming performance for St. Pius, who looked really good receiving wise, defensive back wise. You have a D1 commit up front, or D1 player up front. I mean, a higher division. You would expect them to put it together, but I guess they still have to find who their identity is this year. And Second Baptist did not pull any punches to this first round. And I mean, yeah, I guess Turner Murdoch's the real deal. 35 points and a opening win. I mean, that's very, very impressive. JD Crisp, probably came to play as well. Hudson Toon and Cannon Toon, I believe his younger brother, are both starting defensive backs now. So that's going to be very impressive to see. Jackson Powers probably played really well. I mean, that defense is really, really good. If I sat down and thought about it, right? I mean, that defense is going to be really, really good this year. And I guess we should have talked about that more in the Division II preview. But I mean, only letting that good offense of St. Pius score 7 in their opening game, I mean, that's impressive.
Did you mention Kyle Cole-Morgan?
I did not, but yeah, that linebacker who won linebacker of the year for us last year. I mean, really good player.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, Second Baptist, I mean, they lose Eli Smith and Everett Skillern, but they're such a good culture there, and there's still so many athletes. I think they're going to be completely fine. And you saw that with their drumming of St. Pius. Ryan, your thoughts on the outcome of this game?
Yeah, this is the team that went to state last year up against DC, and I think that needs to be known as well. It's like, this is going to be another Second Baptist team like we always expect. We always say that, there's 3 or 4 teams that come out of the South every year in D2, and, they're maybe the same 3 or 4 teams every year. And I don't think that's going to change. I think Second Baptist is going to put their name out there again this year, and shows that, shows that they're going to take down the other Houston team of St. Pius. So, looking forward to see how Second Baptist does the rest of this year. But yeah, we'll see how they do in a D1 matchup this next week.
By the way, Wes, I was looking through the Twitter of Second Baptist, and they started out the game with a Turner Murdoch to JD Crisp touchdown. Then that was at the start of the second. Then it ended at half at 21-0, and then 28 to nothing with a Kyle Cormorgan touchdown to running up the middle. I still didn't say it right, didn't I? But that's okay.
As a running back?
Yeah, he ran it in to start it was 28-0 in the third, late in the third.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then B Butler, we need to figure out who this is. Ran it like a 35 yard touchdown to make it 35-0 with 4 minutes left in the fourth. So that means they scored in the last 4 minutes, St. Pius. So that's like basically garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, so Second Baptist effectively shut them out.
Yeah. So that's, to my point, very, very impressive win for St. Pius or Second Baptist.
No, they're going to be solid again, man. I mean, I know they are. I'm excited to see what they do in D2. Transitioning to the next game, Fort Worth All Saints versus Nolan, and one of our worst picks of the week. I literally have written here, man, period, just man. We were flat wrong again. I mean, Nolan 37, All Saints 21. I mean, hats off to KJ Williams, Cole Matsuda, Antonio Hall, and the rest of the Viking squad. I mean, that's all I can say. Matsuda tossed 4 touchdowns, 3 of which went to Antonio Hall. The Vikings also outgained the Saints 135-27 on the ground, with DK Smittick going for 84 of those. I mean, hand up, we definitely questioned what Nolan had left after a lot of turnover this offseason, but they have quickly established that they are not going anywhere. As for All Saints, the talent is there. We're just going to have to see if they can pull it together in a tough D2 division or District 2. Best believe we're going to make an effort to go up to Fort Worth and watch the Vikings before the season's over. So, Walker, I'll turn to you first. I mean, we just flat got this one wrong. What are your thoughts on the performance by Cole Matsuda and Antonio Hall?
I mean, flat out, you got to respect it. Point blank. They proved everyone wrong. And that not when their back's against the wall, but just when you think that everyone's going against you, you can be like, oh, well, maybe we don't have a shot. Or you could be like, all right, we're going to prove everyone wrong. And they took the latter. And that's just so impressive with the mindset of those guys and what Coach Williams is instilling in that program. You know, just, I really, really respect it. And the Battle of Fort Worth takes another win for the Vikings at Nolan in a row. I believe like 3-4 maybe in a row. They'll for sure let me know. But yeah, you got to respect it, man. And I guess maybe they were not as far off as we thought they were in TAPS D1, and it's going to be interesting to see how wrong we are. I mean, point blank, like, we have them, we had them 4th or 3rd in that district, and it's going to be interesting to see, all right, where do they end up this year? With Prestonwood not looking as good as we thought that we were, I mean, that whole TAPS D1 District 1 is going to be very interesting to watch. As for All Saints, I mean, it's going to be interesting how they respond, right? Like, are they going to respond like slowly and just show, all right, maybe we're not as good as we are? Or are they going to come out and be like, that's not who we are. We made mistakes. We maybe had some injuries. I don't know. And we're going to respond better. And this week they play TCA Addison, and that's going to be a good win to respond to see, all right, how good are we? But yeah, as Sal's Christian fan, that makes me happy that maybe they're not as good as we thought they were going into the season. But yeah. By the way, Nolan Catholic fans, I apologize. I would definitely have come to the College Station game in town, but I have another game I have to go to this Friday. But I wish I could definitely go to that one.
Sorry, had a brain fart. But yeah, no.
Well, all right, Ryan. Hey, I'm taking over Wes's job now. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's worth pointing out that, you know, when I saw Cole Matsuda last year, I genuinely thought, I was like, you know what, He had a really, really good game against Prestonwood. It was him versus McGuire Martin last year. I was very impressed by what Matsuda was able to do. And to let it be known, like I'm looking at this right now. I have this on replay right here. It's just these 2 catches by Antonio Hall for Matsuda. That's on the athletics account of Nolan Catholic. Are you kidding me? Like what? Also, like I just like the one-handed catch and then like the over the. I don't know, man. Antonio, that's crazy. Cole, y'all are doing something special there. And just let it be known that no one's back, man. No one's back again. And going back to Walker's point, everybody had All Saints in this game. Every single person had All Saints. Every single person that was basically doing a private school football analysis had All Saints in this game. So Nolan 100% was like, all right, let's go. Let's run it. I'm doing it. Let's go. And, I'm saying this right now. Like Matsuda and Cole Matsuda and Antonio Hall are going to be crazy this year. That's my hot take. They're going to be crazy. I think that connection is going to be absolutely wonderful. And take your pick at SportsCenter #SC Top 10. You know what? Hey, I'll put my vote in for SportsCenter. Those are wild, Antonio. So, anyways, Nolan Catholic, man, y'all do y'all's thing this year. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, I really want to see Nolan show out after just everyone kind of doubted them, us included, going into the season. I would love to see them prove a lot of people wrong. It'd be a fantastic storyline. Moving into the last 2 games that we need to go through quickly. The first is DC versus Dunne. Now, this was closer than expected. We were talking about before the game, is DC going to cover a 25-point spread? That's really the only thing we were looking at. They definitely did not. The game ended 34-21 Dallas Christian. Running back Zach Hernandez leads this effort on the ground for DC with 10 rushes for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. That is 17 yards per rush. Sophomore quarterback Luke Carney throws for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns with 150 receiving yards, and both touchdowns going to junior Will Nettles. Dunne quarterback Shandon King threw touchdowns to both Bradley Mays and Jeremiah Horn. I actually have a little bit of an inside scoop on the DC side of things, if I can pull it up. Inside source says we were up 21-0 in the first quarter. The last 3 quarters we stank. Fumbles, gave up 2 very long touchdowns. They had a decent team. We don't have a lot of depth. Lots of kids playing both ways. We must get in better condition. So that's kind of the story with Dallas Christian, as it always has been. They have really high top level talent, but they're playing both ways, and guys are probably cramping, they're getting tired. We're going to need to see what kind of shape they're in moving into week 2. But as for this game, Walker, DC Dunne, a little closer than expected, but what are your thoughts coming out of this match?
I think DC, finally got it together in the end, started scoring points, and all right, you make sense. DC is DC. That makes sense. I was very, very impressed with Bishop Dunne this game. And, you have the freshman quarterback over there, but, they roll with Shandon King, who, did really good for them. 108 yards with 2 TDs and rushed for 90 yards as well. So, he did really good for them. And I guess they're going to roll with him for the rest of the year, and having Jeremiah Horn and all these guys, they're in the right direction, but facing a Dallas Christian defense is always tough week 1. So I think that's probably going to be one of the better defenses they probably face all year. And so good to get that out week 1 to show, hey, we can do this. They scored 14 points, but still, hey, this is how we are. This is who we defined as. And I think that's a good week 1 loss, but a good program point of hey, this is who we are. We can do this the rest of the season. So I think there's bright future ahead. There's a bright future ahead for the Bishop Dunne Falcons.
Yeah, for sure. I think there are great things that both of these teams can take out of this game. Ryan, your thoughts on Dallas Christian versus Bishop Dunne?
Yeah, with you saying DC versus Dunne, the whole factor of how DC, is running out of guys. This has been the main thing, y'all, for what we've known about Dallas Christian. As they keep moving down in division, that means they're moving down in kids at their dang school. There's not a lot of kids at the dang school. They're in a D3. They're playing a D2 school. They don't. And when they talk about depth, they're really just talking about guys that are on the football field with them. In all reality, there's just literally not that many guys out out there in general because DC is a shrinking school. It has been a shrinking school. That's why they went state and went down. So, I think that's something to note. But what I really want to say, this is my main factor. Can y'all just look at this? I told y'all this district was going to be good. Legacy wins this week. Grace wins this week. What's it called? Quorum Deo wins this week. Grapevine Faith wins this week. Bishop Dunne puts 21 on DC. Come on, this district is not going to be bad this year. I'm ready for I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this division or this district. I keep saying division, this district to be something talked about. We keep talking about the other district on the other side, which is going to be great in and of itself in the north, the other D2.
People knew that.
But people knew that. Come on, y'all, wake up. Let's go. Come on. I'm ready to see this Grace and Legacy district as long as the Grapevine Faith and Quorum Deo. It's going to be something this year, man. I have to put my foot down because this is impressive by Bishop Dunne and every other team getting a win this week with almost like a shutout for Legacy. Grace winning by 32. Grapevine Faith winning by 40. I'm ready for it, y'all. I'm ready for this district to put itself back on top.
Yeah, it's been a while since Grace put a smackdown on someone. So seeing them beat Winona 39-7 it made me very happy. I think they actually have athletes this year, and I'm actually somewhat excited, and I'm also ready to get hurt again. So Grace, if you would like to get my hopes really high and then just completely smack them, I'm okay with that as well. But moving on.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm telling you right now, I have so much hope. So much hope.
Well, the good thing is one of us has to win versus our game. So at least someone will be happy. Right. Go on, Walker.
Shout out Cypress Christian winning the Dog Bowl over TVS. And I want to read Antoine Polt's stat line because it was really, really good. Antoine Polt's stat line for this past week: 19 carries, 285 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Great job, Antoine. I'm very proud of you, and you are a monster. Grown man numbers you put up. Shout out the guys. All right, continue.
Yeah, no, we've not. Antoine Polk's a beast, and hopefully we will get to see him in person later this season. Okay, so with the games that we recapped over with, we now, as always, transfer into the games of the week, and there are 5 of those. So starting with the first one, Parish Episcopal versus Episcopal Bel-Air, not to be confused with each other. A clash of the Titans will come about on Friday when 2 1-0 squads face off. We had these teams 1 and 2 in our preseason power rankings, and for good reason. Parish is a unanimous favorite to win TAPS Division 1 and proved why after beating Aledo this past Friday. Sophomore quarterback Sawyer Anderson, running back Cedric Mays, and defensive back Daniel Demery are proving that the Panthers are one of the best teams in the state, regardless of classification. Episcopal was not as expected coming into the season. However, they were benefited by some excellent transfers, including quarterback Carson Gordon. Bel-Air looks to take the SPC 4A title and started strong with a 42-7 win over UIL 4A Livingston. Bel-Air, we've been talking about how good they've been with these transfers, how excited we are to watch them. I'm incredibly excited to see them throughout the rest of the season. I think they're the only people that can even remotely challenge Parish in private schools. However, there's not a universe that I can't take Parish here. It's Parish Episcopal. They just beat Aledo. I'm not giving you any more reason than that. It's just incredibly easy. I'm taking Parish Episcopal. I'm not thinking about it twice, Walker.
I'm gonna go with Episcopal school that's in Dallas.
There we go.
Parish Episcopal. I said in a tweet to someone that told me to go with my gut. And I said, I don't think I will ever pick against Parish Episcopal again. I'm not doing that. I will never do that. Parish Episcopal in this one. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. And I would have went to that game so badly if I didn't already lock in my game. And I'm very, very sad I'm missing this one because it's going to be a heck of a game. But yeah, I'm going to go with Parish in this one. But I want to shout out Carson Gordon. 42-7 win over Livingston. He had 6 touchdowns, 282 yards. And 192 on the ground with 2 touchdowns. That's just a very impressive performance for the big time quarterback over there.
I mean, that dude's the truth. We got to go down and watch a Bel-Air game at some point. I just want to see how good he is and how good this team is. But Ryan, I mean, I hope I know what you're going to pick, but let's see it.
Yeah, I want Episcopal. Parish Episcopal. I'm not going to steal your joke.
I was about to say.
No, yeah, I'm going Parish. I think it's very easy to go with Parish here, but I'm literally just gonna solely take this game into the mindset of like how good is Episcopal going to be? Like I'm taking this like the Bishop Dunne game for DC almost. Like I'm using this game as a reference point for how Episcopal is going to play the rest of the year in the SBC. Because if they put up numbers on Parish this week, then let it be known. Well, let it be known that that Episcopal, is going to make the case with Kincaid for the SBC for a title. Like they're going to make a run with Kincaid. So if they are already making a run with Kincaid, I don't know why I'm saying that, but Parish, I have Parish here, but I have no idea how this game's going to turn out when it comes to the score line. This game could be really close. It could be a blowout, but I think Parish is going to win.
Yeah, no, I think they will as well. It'll be interesting. I do want to see how close Episcopal can get. So tuning into our next game, that is Fort Bend Christian Academy at Dallas Christian in Mesquite. This is a game that I have had circled since the schedule's released. The student Jordan Black returns to Mesquite to battle the master in a duel for the ages. Reigning TAPS D2 champion and current D3 title favorites Dallas Christian have one of the best programs in the state over the past decade, even more than that, past few decades. Even after moving down a division, they still garner that reputation. Athletes like sophomore quarterback Luke Carney, senior running back Zach Hernandez, and junior athlete Speedy Nettles demonstrate why Dallas Christian is a force to be reckoned with. But looking to the other side is a force that D2 will have to prepare for over the coming weeks. Senior Brown commit Brady Dever and the Fort Bend Christian Eagles are on a self-titled revenge tour, donning the motto, "Come and take it." They also have ridiculous firepower, including Dever, Max Granville, Brian Domino, Bennett Warren, Kobe Sellers. The list goes on and on. And in this matchup, I'm going to have to take the new blood. I think Fort Bend Christian is going to be too much to handle in this one. I think Dallas Christian showed that they were human for the first time in a while last week. And I think the Eagles are going to capitalize on that. I've been one of DC's biggest proponents since this podcast started. I called them a rolling ball of chainsaws. That's partially because I played against them. I know how good they are. I've also seen firsthand how good this Fort Bend Christian team is, and I don't think I can pick against them here. Dallas Christian really tests whether I can pick against them or not, but I have to go with Fort Bend here. Walker, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on this game.
It's gonna be a good one, and if you couldn't go to Parish, Bel-Air, this is the second best game to go to, or arguably the best game to go to. So you have a good one you're going to, Wes. I'm excited to see what you say after this one, but I think you gotta go Fort Bend in this one. I feel like that's gonna be the right pick, but I said that about last time, and I was 2-5 in our picks, so I don't know anything. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. But I really like this Fort Bend team. And you saw, I'm trying to find it today to make sure, but Texas Tech came through today and offered like 3 of their guys. They offered Kobe Sellers, they offered Bennett Warren, Max Granville. I mean, that's a Power 5 school that Coach McGuire likes his guys that are really, really good in the state of Texas. And those 3 are some dogs. And they're just showing that, hey, Power 5 schools are looking at Fort Bend, especially those 2 guys or 3 guys and all the other guys with Brady Dever committed to Brown. I just really, really like this team. But don't get twisted. It's not like DC's not going to put up a fight. I mean, Luke Carney's the real deal, and William Nettles and Zach Hernandez are all going to put their best foot forward into this one. So it's going to be a very, very entertaining game there in Dallas this weekend.
Interestingly enough, the Massey ratings has Dallas Christian as a 6.5 point favorite for this game, which is very, very intriguing. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the Dallas Christian Fort Bend game? Who are we going with?
So, it's so funny. Last year, you said the exact same thing when you said that DC was showed that they were human. You said the exact same thing after they lost to TCA last year. I think it's kind of funny how you said that. The next game they came out and whooped Fort Bend. But I'm not going with DC this year. Fort Bend, I think, takes it in this one almost only because I think Jaleel Brown was the reason why they won last year. And Jaleel Brown is not there at DC anymore. Not saying that DC is not a strong powerhouse like they are, but Jaleel had 3 touchdowns in that game last year and really led DC to that win. 35-13, depending on what you define as close. I mean, I think 22 points, isn't terribly close, but I think Jaleel was the difference in that game. He was the 21, 22 points that basically was the difference between them and Fort Bend. And I think this year that Fort Bend, a lot of guys are coming, especially, Dever is, on his tour, on his senior tour to come do something. Like I'm telling you right now, I think Fort Bend is just too scary. They're showing too much of what they can do. And when I think of this Fort Bend team this year, I just think of scary. And I'm waiting to see Dallas Christian to see how they do this year. So overall, although, and this is how I know DC could do it, because whenever Wes says they're what's it called? Whenever Wes says that they're human, they just show that they're not human. So that's how it is. But I'm telling you right now, I think Fort Bend's a different animal this year, and I think Fort Bend takes this one.
That's wild. I said the exact same thing coming off of a DC performance right before Fort Bend game 2 years in a row.
Right.
Time is a flat circle, but that's all the preview. Actually, I don't think I've mentioned I'm going to be at that game on Friday. So I guess it'll come out Thursday or Friday. So I'll be going to that game either tonight or tomorrow, depending on when you see this. I'm incredibly excited to see it. I think this is going to be an electric matchup. But moving into the next game, we have Midland Christian versus Austin Regents. Both teams started their season off with a win. Regents had a dominant win over Central Catholic, and Midland won a double OT game against El Paso Americas. I think all of us stayed up until at least midnight watching, if I remember correctly, last Thursday. That was some electric moments in the group chat. But in terms of that game, actually, Blake Pruitt and Boston Rodriguez both look very impressive. I think Midland has some very good talent, even with all the turnover in their roster. Regents also, like we mentioned, they look the part. We already previewed or reviewed their last game, but Quinn Murphy obviously is the real deal. He's the truth, and we're going to have to take that into account moving forward. But Midland is going to take the 5-hour bus ride down to Austin, take on the Knights, and I've gone back and forth a lot. I disrespected Midland a lot last year in that I didn't pick them in times they won. I disrespected Regents already this year. So I don't really know who to side with. I think this is almost even. I think we're probably going to be split as a podcast on this. But for this game at this point in the season, I'm going to have to take Regents. I think that Quinn Murphy is starting to prove that he's a very solid player in this league, and even as a freshman. I think Midland is also fantastic, but I think Regents has a very, very slight edge here, and that's why I'm going to have to side with them. Walker, your thoughts?
That's actually a really interesting pick. I haven't really. That's tough.
I know
this is a tough one. Like this is difficult. This one is also going to be one, Wes, that we're going to look back at like later in the district season to see how good the North is compared to the South. Like, all right, if this is a slaughter for Regents, right? And then Midland plays a lot of those North teams close, and the opposite, like it's going to be very interesting to see. What do I pick? I will roll with you. I think I will go Austin Regents with this one. I think Quinn Murphy looked like the real deal, and maybe there's a shock factor is still hitting me of how good that Austin Regents team looked. Yeah, I think that maybe that's it. Whitfield Powell looked really good in that opening game. That defense looked really good. So I'm gonna go Austin Regents in this one. But I mean, Midland could, as they usually do with everyone, that West Texas just mentality just can shock anyone.
Walker, you want to take a guess as to what the spread is for this game?
Probably like
minus 2.
I want maybe like -6.
Midland Christian -13.5.
Wow.
It's very interesting.
I
All
thought it'd be
right.
a lot closer. I thought they were just gonna like go down to the edge, whatever. But
So would I. But Ryan, I mean, we've already both picked the same team, so by podcast rule, you basically have to pick Midland. I'm really, really hoping you pick Midland. Please don't, please don't leave us on a ledge here.
to be fair, the last two picks that we just made, we all made for the same team for all three picks.
Yeah,
but
but this is a lot closer.
I know. But dude, I just looked like an idiot with the Regents game last game. I look like an idiot. But what I do have to say is like, I think just for the fact that I think Midland. I mean, Midland beat America's is a 6A UI. They're a UIL 6A. Like, that means they have
They are.
what 20 is that means they have 2,500 kids at their school, right? I think that's what the minimum is, or something like that, or there's 2,000 or something like that. Like, that's a lot of kids. I got Regents.
I'm sorry, Regents. You're definitely gonna lose now. Did you just was that? Was that like a
That's like a hop. That's like a skip.
I thought it was like a more of like a gritty, like like a weird
like a one hit, like a gritty. Yeah.
I tripped over my mic. If my audio's on, I tripped over my microphone. I tripped over my microphone and it ripped the cord out. So that was whatever that little stinky leg was. It's too late. Did you really just pick Regents?
I have to. I looked like an idiot last week not picking them. Midland looked insane against America's, but what I have to say is just like this Regents team, putting that up on Central Catholic, like it kind of just showed me like they're gonna do it again this year. Like Regents is gonna be like the legacy that is Regents is gonna prove once again. I'm sorry, man. I have to go Regents in this game. It makes too much sense, and I don't want to look like an idiot again. So I'm going Regents here.
We're gonna look like idiots whenever Midland wins, and they meme us to death because we all have the same little graphic.
Yeah.
Mustangs 882 is gonna do to us on
Twitter. Dude, this is so funny. This is like the meme empires playing each other because I feel like both these teams meme us more than anybody else. Yeah, I feel like there's no good pick for this one except for the fact
we have to be the biggest Austin Regents fans on the planet come Friday. No, please, Midland. I know we did the song and dance last year.
Man.
You're a great team. We all think this game is going to come down to a touchdown. Please, we're begging you. If and when you eventually do win, spare us on Twitter, please. That's all I ask.
But I feel like we should do all like picks at like 12:50 at night. I feel like that's like responsible of us. I think this is what makes us.
These are the best picks. Oh, by the way, I have a 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Just thought I'd mention that to anybody that was wondering.
I have a 10 o'clock. So
yeah, there you go.
I don't have class.
What?
I have online. I have online class.
Oh, right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Moving forward, we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
Cypress Christian versus John Cooper. The state champions from their respective divisions, Cypress and John Cooper, had way different starts to the season. Cypress started with a 54-0 win over Brazos Christian, with John Cooper getting stifled by the Woodlands Christian Academy 10-7. Cypress makes sense. They lost a big-time senior class last year, but with Maxwell Landrum at the helm, they're going to do just fine. Landrum led the team in passing and rushing in week 1. Former Magnolia Legacy Prep Tyler Prazak's younger brother, 24 athlete Kyle Prazak, has transferred to Cypress and led the team in receiving yards with a touchdown as well. Warren Howdeck, I think, Preston Hamrick, and Jacob Branch are all other people that stood out. John Cooper, on the other hand, had a very rough start for the reigning state champions. An offense led by Vaughn McKeever only scored once all night, which is very unusual, so you have to credit the CWCA defense for that. The 2025 versatile shifty athlete Dean Calhoun looked impressive in his performance, being the person who scored for the Dragons that night. Looking into this game, the battle of the two state champions, it will be interesting. Cypress had a very easy week 1 game, while John Cooper really struggled. So this matchup last year, Cypress lost 20-14, but this year it looks like a way different setup. And honestly, I'm going to have to take Cypress here. You know, they
Ooh.
absolutely drummed Brazos Christian. We know Brazos lost a lot, but it's still a team with a good culture. I don't know what happened to John Cooper versus the Woodlands, but that's something that just flat shouldn't have happened, especially when the strength of that team you think is their offense. If they're only scoring 7 points, I can't take them in this game. You know, I think they'll probably be fine in the long run, but they need to get it figured out right now. But, you know, with a Cypress Christian team that just dropped 54, I mean, I don't see there's a way that you can't roll with them. Walker, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but what do you think?
Yeah, you have to wonder, Wes, like, do they miss the running back do it all and Jackson Pierce as he's graduated, because he was a big time weapon for them in the run game. And I don't know, like, I mean, Dean Calhoun looked really, really impressive in this film from this past weekend. So I don't think, they are going down so much, but maybe just a guy they can rely on. I don't know. It's just a very interesting thing that offense with that much talent with Kier Sullivan, Dean Calhoun, Von McKeever only scored 7 points 7 points. So it's just going to be interesting how they rebound. And I mean, I love Chris Hogan. I love that team. I think Maxwell and Landrum. This is a good battle of two pretty good 23 quarterbacks too, and Landrum and McKeever. And you know what? I don't think I see the John Cooper Dragons doing it for a second week in a row. So I'm gonna go John Cooper in this one. I just think that program under Coach DeHaven is just, I don't think they have a standard of only scoring 7 points. And I don't think they don't settle for that. Like they're going to come back, and I think they're going to be in the right direction. So I give me John Cooper in this one, but I mean, I think Cypress Christian's going to come ready to play and do not want to lose again for the second straight year. I mean, Coach Hogan knows how to scheme up a team, and I think he's going to come ready to play with his guys.
No, I like it. And the metrics have to agree with you. They have John Cooper as a 3.5-point favorite on this matchup. So, Ryan, the pod is split. You get to break the rubber here. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to say that like John Cooper only let up 7 points. I mean, only let up 10 points, right? So I definitely don't think Cypress Christian is going to be going and scoring 54 points again like they did against Brazos Christian. But at the same time, though, I will have to say that it's almost like, so okay, I'll read this out to you. McKeever threw 3 interceptions, right? 3 interceptions against a Woodlands Christian team that I know doesn't have the same defense as Cypress Christian. Cypress Christian has a better defense than Woodlands Christian. I have to believe that they're going to pressure McKeever the same way. And I have to believe that Cypress Christian with Coach Hogan and Landrum and then now Prazak, like, I don't know. I think not to say something I shouldn't say, but I think this is kind of obvious. Like, I think Cypress gets this win here against John Cooper because in all reality, the numbers would point to the fact that Cypress Christian is kind of closer to the same team than John Cooper was. I feel like John Cooper's turn a different page than they are last year. Not saying that John Cooper couldn't go win SBC 3A again, but with a team like Cypress Christian under Chris Hogan and a team that performed super well in Division III last year and is going to put up a fight this year, I think I have to have Cypress Christian here, and I think I have to have Cypress Christian by a good amount.
Ooh, that is interesting. So we have the pod split 2-1 on the outcome of this game. I'm very, very intrigued. I think this is going to be a very telling matchup for both teams moving forward. I think there's a lot at stake here, honestly, especially for John Cooper. I mean, they need to come out and have a good showing after last week, or I think their season is kind of in danger of kind of teetering on the rails a little bit. But with that being said, that is all we will talk about that matchup in Houston. And now we will transfer into the last game we're going to talk about, which is Lutheran South versus St. Michael's Christian. This is a matchup of the second round of the playoffs last year. For anyone who forgot, Lutheran South lost to St. Michael's 37-14. But as for this season, it's looking a little bit different. Lutheran South beat Houston Christian in their first game 44-7, and St. Michael's lost in a stunner to Geneva 27-20. So we have two teams kind of moving in different directions here. We had St. Michael's that started with high expectations, that's dropped a little bit. We have Lutheran South that started a little bit lower, and now we're looking a little closer after that good win. As for Lutheran South, I mean, they obviously have playmakers, DB, Jalen Lowry, linebacker Matthew Furness, and running back linebacker Wesley Willingham. St. Michael's is the usual suspects, Carson Kruger, Xander Romero, Malachi Smith, and Jock Griffin. And this is kind of a tough one. If you would have asked me who wins this game before the season started, I would have told you St. Michael's Christian 7 times a week and twice on Sundays. However, I mean, you have to take a closer look at this after week 1. And honestly, I'm going to ride with momentum like I have been with all of my picks. I'm going to say Lutheran South wins this game. You know, I think that game against Houston Christian, obviously Houston Christian isn't necessarily an elite program in private school, but I think Lutheran South has started on the right foot, and I think they can get it done against St. Michael's. Walker, your thoughts?
I want to do the same. I kind of want to do the same thing with kind of the last pick. You know, they have experience. That defense looks really good with Jalen Lowry, Matthew Furness, Wesley Willingham, and guys like Jackson Oliver transferring in, you know, other guys. So it's like they have a really good team, but man, the interestingest thing, I don't know, I don't know, but you know, Kruger tweeted out like prayers up to my guys who were injured. It's gonna be interesting to see who was injured. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but like if it's like, I'm not saying it is, but like if it's their better players, I mean, I see that pick, but I'm going to roll the dice on this one and kind of like what I did John Cooper and say, all right, you learn from your mistakes of week 1 and you're not going to make the same mistakes in week 2. And I'm going to go with St. Michael's in this one. I have there's too much potential there to mess up again. I think, yeah, I just have St. Michael's in this one because I think they're going to rebound and just show why they're Austin St. Michael's again. And just, I'm just going to be, yeah.
That is interesting. The spread actually disagrees with you on this one. They have Lutheran South as a half-point favorite, so it kind of goes off what we've been saying. We both think this is probably going to be a pretty close matchup. Ryan, for the final time tonight, are you going to, or you have to break the tie? Which side are you going to favor?
So, you know, Lutheran South, there's a way 100% they can win this game, 100%. And I'm going to tell you how right now. You want to know what Geneva did to them? They had Landon Grimes, a guy that had 3 touchdowns, but 188 yards up on St. Michael's. If you run the ball with, let me get his name, Wesley Willingham, if they run the ball, Wesley Willingham, and basically just run it down their throat, if that's their weakness right now, if that's the weakness of Austin St. Michael's, then Lutheran South, you need to push that to the best of their abilities. I'm telling them something they already know, obviously. Like, I'm not saying anything crazy, but if they push the ball that way, like, and they run the ball super, super efficiently, I'm telling you right now that Lutheran South wins this game. However, I think
how does St. Michael's allow 188 yards by a man with Jaw Griffin and Nehemiah Griffin up the middle? So
that might be the thing. What if they got hurt? Not saying they got hurt, but right. We gotta you know, you wonder that kind of thing too. Also, the fact that, you know, Geneva scored 13 points, and I'm assuming it had to have been at least 2 of those touchdowns, you know, in the second half. So, you know, and then there's a lot of questions. We don't know all the answers between this Geneva and St. Michael's game, but what I will say is here, you know, just because Geneva did well with Landon Grimes, I'm going to tell you right now, St. Michael is going to learn from what happened. Unless there's a serious injury on that D line, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen again. It will not happen again. St. Michael's is going to come out. They're going to show who they are, and they're going to prove that this Geneva game was a fluke. Barring a injury that we do not know about, I have St. Michael's here. And I think St. Michael's takes it over Lutheran South. I agree with you, Walker. I think this is just a jump back game. I think Carson Kruger, Malachi Smith, Xander Romero, I think all these guys just proved that, like, this was just one game that happened. Xander Romero still had a good game last game too. We're talking about, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he still showed out. Like, 230 yards at Carson Kruger and 3 touchdowns is still good. Like, St. Michael's only lost by 7 points. Like, they didn't get shut out here, y'all. Come on. St. Michael's, it wasn't a horrible loss last week. You're going to come out and you're going to show yourself against Lutheran South unless you can't stop the run of Wesley Willingham. That's my take. So I have St. Michael's.
Let's not mince words. It was still a bad loss, though. Like, it's still they shouldn't have lost to Geneva Burney.
Especially with Geneva losing their quarterback, Grayson O'Donnell, to TMI. So that's their backup, I'm guessing. And I don't know.
I mean, he didn't see the ball that much. I'm gonna tell you right now. The ball obviously went to Landon. Like, let's be very fair. They ran it. So they only threw 9 passes. There's 3 guys on here that had 13 plus carries. They ran the ball out the wazoo against St. Michael's, I don't know.
And Wesley, what is it? Wesley Willingham is a big dude, man. And so I think that's going to be hard to stop. But yeah, anyone from St. Michael's who watches this pod, please let us know who got hurt through Kruger's treat, because we're trying to get more info about the teams that we talk about, so we know what we're talking about.
You're right. Yeah.
But one guy that showed out to me was on the stat sheet of that game is Bo Ogden. He looks like he's looking at his Twitter. He's more of a basketball guy, but he stands at 6'4" and he's a freshman in high school. So that might be another weapon. He had 63 yards and a touchdown receiving, and on tackles wise, he had 6 tackles and also 1 interception. I mean, as a freshman in high school at 6'4", that's going to be one to watch for sure. But that guy just stood out to me. But I wanted to say that. I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting game to see. All right, what is St. Michael's made of coming off a very rough loss in week 1?
Yeah, for sure. I think looking at this whole thing from a macro lens, I'm, like I mentioned before we started recording, I am worried that I'm overreacting way too much to these good teams losing week 1, because I pretty much picked against every good team that lost week 1, which, I think it's a decent strategy, but we'll see. I will see if it just destroys my pick record moving forward. But with that being said, that's actually all the information we have to cover for this episode. So barring any further comments from either of you, go on, Walker. I want to say, I want collaboration when we do these episodes to know more knowledge about the teams. Like, if you're listening from any school and you want to reach out and let us know what happened in your game, like if there was a big time upset, we're trying to figure out, all right, what happened? What turned the tide? What happened? Please let us know, because we're just trying to get more info so we know exactly what happened. Because we put the scorecard out, which Ryan did a fantastic job at that. And I even had coaches reach out to me and be like, hey, this is really cool. Appreciate you doing this. So we're trying to learn more about the teams and the games. So please let us know, reach out, and also tag us in final scores so we can get that thing as fast as possible. So just please, I'm asking for, I guess, just communication, just so we can help out y'all and get scores out, know more about y'all when we talk about y'all, and just gain more wisdom. So that's kind of my final thoughts.
If y'all like the scoreboard, let us know too. I mean, that was an idea that we came up this year. We said we wanted to do it. It was a way of kind of just like making it like a centralized place where everybody could come to find out the scores at the end of the night. So we're going to try to do that. I think how many slots we have, I'm trying to see on here. There's 24 slots on here. So, we should be able to get as many games as we can on the score sheets each night. I'm going to try to have those out by midnight each night at the latest on Friday night. So you should be able to check that, if not Saturday morning before your the film. You can check the scores from last night. But yeah, it's something we wanted to start doing this year. And don't be upset if we don't have your team on there. There are more than 24 games each week, so we might not have your team on there. But it is a way that we want to make sure, there was really no centralized place. Max Preps doesn't have all the scores on those Saturday mornings and stuff like that, and those late Friday nights. And so hope y'all like it. And yeah, tag us in all the final score graphics that y'all see or anything like that. We're wanting to know, and it makes me easier than searching on Twitter all night long.
Yeah, please do. And yet again, shout out, go thank Ryan for putting that together. Thank Walker for building the graphic. It's a tremendous job by both of y'all getting that done. I think it's one of the cooler things we've done. To see all the interaction on it is really, really cool. So we're glad that all of y'all appreciate that. But that being said, this has been the Texas Private School Podcast. I have been, as always, 1/3 of your hosting crew. My co-hosts have fantastically been Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.
3, 2, 1.